Greetings gamers, and welcome to another Big Fat Freebie Friday for anyone looking for something different to play this weekend but don't have the cash to splash. In today's episode I'm going to be looking at No Code's game Stories Untold, which will be free from Epic's store until the 30th of May. This game started life as a competition for game developers, where game developers are given a theme and just 72 hours to complete and submit a game, which makes the brilliance of this game all the more incredible. And before we get into this though, let's walk through the basics. Generally, anything downloaded from an official site such as Epic, Steam or Origin is going to be safe, but that's no reason to be complacent. I did a full virus scan before and after downloading this software and there were no problems, but I still recommend you have an up-to-date operating system and up-to-date virus definitions, and trust your antivirus software. If it says it's dodgy, don't download it from anywhere, ever. I did everything I could to break this game and only succeeded once. Once going upstairs in the house abandoned story, if instead of going into my room I go back downstairs, the game seems to crash. Apart from that, I just couldn't seem to break the game. Given that this game was developed in just 72 hours, I think that's absolutely mind-blowing. Absolutely not. This game is a standalone single-player game. And now let's get to the good stuff. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's fun. You're basically typing commands into a keyboard like the old text-based adventures, which, after all, is the theme of this game, so don't expect too much in the way of great graphics and lots of pew pew. It's more like tippity-tappity on the keyboard for between 4 to 8 hours, depending on how much you resist the will of the developers. But although I wouldn't call it fun, it is as far from boring as you can get. It's gripping and compelling. It sucks you into this nightmare and won't let you out. It's scary, and I mean Five Nights at Freddy's scary, but it's not just jump scares, it's overflowing with tension and intrigue and suspense. But to really enjoy this game, you really should play it all at night, alone, when it's quiet and dark. In the daytime, when people are coming and going and interrupting you, it's a good game. But alone, in the quiet stillness of a dark room, it's an experience you'll never forget. I started playing in the evening around 5 PM, and the game was good enough to keep me playing, but by the time my family had gone to bed, I lost all track of time, and it was about 1 AM when I saw the game to its final conclusion. That being said, I saw the conclusion coming a mile off, as the developers no doubt intended, and spent hours trying to resist the inevitable, again as the developers no doubt intended. And it was my struggle to resist the obvious outcome and the impossibility of resisting the outcome that made the final reveal all the more poignant. This game is called Stories Untold, and the untold stories are in 4 chapters called episodes. Episode 1 is called The House Abandoned, which gets you sucked into the narrative and sets the scene. It's a very quick and very easy game that shouldn't take more than half an hour to complete, unless, like me, you're trying to break the game. Assuming you didn't quit the game in episode 1 because it's too scary, episode 2 is called The Lab Conduct. This might take slightly longer as you get to grips with what's going on, but it's still fairly straightforward. In fact, this game is quite a straightforward game, not requiring too much intelligence. What's compelling is the story. The game really does hold you by the hand and tells you step by step exactly what to do. The biggest issue for the gamer is whether or not you can trust those instructions, and you have to ask yourself repeatedly, do you want to comply with the instructions? This episode might be a little easier and less uncomfortable if you haven't heard of the Milgram experiment, but I don't want to dwell on this because I'm getting dangerously close to spoiler territory. Now, assuming you make it through episode 2, which is not intellectually difficult but emotionally and psychologically difficult, you hit episode 3, which is called The Station Process, where you at first find yourself presented with a few not too difficult intellectual obstacles to overcome. The intellectual challenges are greater than in the first 2 episodes, but still not very difficult. The real challenge comes when your brain starts to figure out what it thinks might be going on, and once again you're presented with a moral dilemma that tests your resolve. Again, as with the first 2 episodes, the issue isn't really, can I complete this challenge? The issue is, should I complete this challenge?
I think that's enough of that for now.
Now, anyone who made it to the end of episode 3 will probably have figured out what's coming in episode 4, which is called The Last Session. The clues aren't exactly easy to miss and not terribly hard to figure out. But again, the challenge is more emotional and psychological than intellectual, and rightly and deliberately so. Anyone who completes the game and says it wasn't hard is missing the point and failed to truly engage with the game and missed the emotional struggle and the final payoff. So I really do recommend playing this game alone in the dark when it's quiet, so that you can feel the full emotional impact of the game and see it for the masterpiece it really is, and not just a short, fairly easy but half decent game. And that about wraps it up for this Big Fat Freebie Friday. I hope you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you in another video.